going from potential pipelines abroad to potential pipelines domestically, there is a disturbing article in Think Progress which outlines how people who are now living at the end of where the proposed Keystone XL pipeline would go are already sick and dying. Think Progress summarizes it saying, Port Arthur, Texas is an oil town home to massive refineries that process 900,000 barrels of crude oil each day, occasionally burping up columns of thick black smoke. It's where the proposed Keystone XL pipeline, after pulling tar sands down from Canada and across the Midwest, would end. Its residents are sick and dying. In a new feature story in On Earth, author Ted Genoways goes down to Port Arthur, gets a look at what's happening to the people, largely low income, almost entirely African American, who call it home. Residents and activists are fighting hard to relocate from where they currently live close to the refineries. Long story short, check out the article on Earth. It shows that based on data collected by the Texas Cancer Registry, cancer rates among African Americans in Jefferson County are 15% higher than for the average Texan. And as a result of decreased access to care, as a result of being low income and other factors, the mortality rates from cancer are 40% higher. So this is not a surprise, Lewis. We talked before on the show about the big water, the 5-gallon water things that are brought into office buildings a lot. They go upside down and you get your water out of there. The production of those 5-gallon, I forget the name. It's a particular type of plastic. The production of those happens in many parts of the world, but it happens in a particularly poor part of Texas. And the areas that are downwind from where the exhaust, where the smoke from the production of those the plastic containers goes, have significantly increased rates of cancer. So this is not a new thing. We know that this affects disproportionately poor people because they have decreased lobbying power to keep it out of their backyard. And in many cases, those disadvantaged groups happen to be minority groups as well. So this is before the Keystone Pipeline even goes in, Lewis. Imagine what the case will be once, if and when that pipeline is added to what is going on in that part of Texas.
I'm sure things can only get worse. I mean, it's funny. People like to focus on the details of pollutants. Well, this type of plastic is bad. The byproduct from this oil refining process is known to be bad. I mean, overall, I think it's pretty clear that just about any type of pollutant is incredibly harmful, at least the vast majority of them in the long term. And it's just funny that we need to focus on the exact details of which pollutants are bad because of our political system, basically.
And I understand, even if you want to make a case, and you could make this case, right? If you could say, I understand that we want to get off fossil fuels. I understand that lobbyists and big corporations are way too involved in the energy industry and they're lobbying Congress, and this is not a good long-term solution. But there will be short-term stimulus and it'll provide some jobs and blah, blah, blah. It's even kind of an exaggeration. I mean, to really make the case that we should only be doing the Keystone XL pipeline based on short-term stimulus and the potential a dampening effect of fossil fuel gas prices that it might produce, I think it's bogus, Lewis. In the time, if you sum up the entire economic benefit of that and compare it to where we would be if years ago George W. Bush had the opportunity, didn't care to do it, started really focusing on alternative energy and completely getting off of fossil fuels, the broader economic benefit and the health benefit that would lead to economic benefit by less people being sick, so on and so forth. It's almost mind-blowing to even try to quantify how much better off we would be if that had been done.
I know the focus on all this short-term stuff is incredible. There is no focus on any long-term energy stimuli at all. But I mean, of course, that's where the money is. Maybe these big companies are just keeping it under wraps until the oil dries up.